Welcome back. This is Mr. Hassan's Maths channel. I'm answering question number 1 from the June 2021 Pure Mathematics paper from Cambridge 9709. This is paper 1 variant 2, and we're asked to express this quadratic expression in this form in which you have kind of completed the square. Now this is slightly different than the normal completing the square where we end up with just x plus something squared, whatever. Here we have a number inside the bracket, and the reason why we end up with a number inside the bracket in this case is because the coefficient of x squared is a perfect square, and as you can see 4 is the square root of that. So this is a special type of completing the square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it as this is going to be 4x, and now I'm going to do it as if we're, as if I didn't have that form. It just said complete the square. I have a 4x there and whatever. So if you have this, you're going to have a square bracket. Now, what you have to understand is there's a minus here, there's going to definitely be a minus here. The number that goes over here, how do we work that out? Well, we have to understand that when you have, for example, a plus b all squared, when you have a square bracket and you square it, you end up with the first term squared plus 2 times the product of these two. So 2 times a times b plus the last term squared. So when you square this bracket, we're going to end up with 16x squared. And then we're going to end up with minus 24x. Okay, when we square this bracket, we're going to end up with that. Let me make a bit of space there. So how do we get minus 24x? Well, when we multiply these two together, and then we double it. So we have 2 times 4x times minus whatever goes here. Let's call it p, equals minus 24x. Okay, so this is going to be minus 8p equals minus 24. So p is going to be 3. So there must be a 3 over here. Okay, 4x minus 3 all squared. That will give me 16x squared minus 24x plus 9. Well, I don't want the plus 9. I want this to be the same as that for now. I want this to be exactly the same as that. So for this to be the same as that, I have to get rid of what comes, I've got to get rid of the extra part. This is going to give me 16x squared. It's going to give you minus 24x, but then it's going to give me a plus 9. I don't want the plus 9, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away that 9. And then I've got a plus 10 at the end, and we get an answer. Okay, so I can get rid of this now. Okay, so we end up with 4x minus 3 all squared plus 1. And that is the expression in this form. And we can check that we're right. If we square this bracket, we'll have 16x squared minus 12x doubled minus 24x minus 3 squared is plus 9. And you got 1 outside, plus 1. We're going to give you plus 10. It's going to give you exactly this. So we've written in this form. We can see a is equal to negative 3. They didn't tell us to give the value of a. But the a here would be negative 3 and the b here would be 1. And we have answered 1a. And that was a question that the student asked. Now question 1b is quite actually an important question. So it says, it is given that the equation 16x squared minus 24x plus 10 equals 0, where k is a constant, has exactly one root. Find the value of this root. Now what you can understand, or what you should have understood when we're dealing with quadratic equations, is that we end up with one root, exactly one root, when the discriminant is equal to 0. Okay, now the long way of doing this question would be to actually try to find the value of k for which the discriminant is 0, put the value of k back in here, and then, factorize it and find the value or find that root. But what we should also understand is whenever we have exactly one root, whenever the discriminant is 0, we have a perfect square. Okay, so for this to give us exactly one root, it should be 16x squared minus 24x plus 9 equals 0. That's how it should look. If it looks like that, it will have exactly one root, because when you factorize it, you'll have 4x minus 3 squared equals 0, right? So when you try to solve this, you're going to end up with 4x minus 3 equals 0. So you have x equals 3/4. So this is the one root. X equals 3/4 is that root. Okay, so whenever you have a perfect square, you end up with one root. It's like a repeated root. Okay, the discriminant of this is going to be 0. If you work out the discriminant of 16x squared plus 1 is 24x plus 9, it will give you 0. And we can see b squared is minus 24 squared minus 4 times 16 times 9. We can see that they should give you 0. If you put that in your calculator, you will get 0. So you have 24 squared minus 24 squared is going to be positive, minus 4 times 16 times 9. As you can see, it gives you 0. Right? So there'll be exactly one root. So whenever you have a perfect square, it will give you one root. So a quick way of answering this question, you don't even have to find the value of k, is that you know that this is going to be the case. If that's 16x squared, all right, for this to be a perfect square, it has to be a plus 9 at the end. Okay, as we just deduced from before. So x equals 3/4 is that root. So that answers question number 1 from this paper, June 2021, paper 1, variant 2 from 9709. Other questions from this paper can be found in the playlist that will appear in this section over here. Other questions from the topic of quadratics can be found from P1 over there. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link. You can watch the video up here, which will show you how to use my channel to find what you're looking for. Thank you for watching and see you soon.